Here's a story of how Industrial Revolution helped form a solution to provide food distribution. Now, it all started in Great Britain, where a bunch of people weren't getting food to eat or water to drink. When Parliament began to think to take use of Britain's banking and dough, investments in canals, bridges, and roads, the economy then began to grow as goods were going all around the world. Few restrictions on private enterprise. Worldwide markets began to rise. The cotton industry, Britain's greatest industry, made factories become a priority. The flying shuttle and the spinning jenny allowed cotton to be bought for as cheap as a penny, created the need for a clean wiping pipe. The new system pump thrived in the mines, burning up coal, saved plenty of trees, and iron ores became a wide source of belief as it allowed James Watt to make a new power source on a steam engine course. They drove machinery in a brand new industry while puddling made a greater iron quality. Thanks to Henry Corp, who really went to work on burning away iron's impurity, it led to iron quantity. Turnpike truss and canals would soon be finished. Railroads now overshadowed the rest, transporting all the zest. Railroads are critical for economic progress. Shove if they can prove the way, along with Stephenson's rocket. The railroad demanded coal and iron only, and helped the growth of joint stock companies. Railroad construction created many jobs, eased transportation, and reduced the price of cogs. The cotton industry also got involved. Workers were paid to run machines and all. People were fined and fired for being drunk. Orphans were beaten and treated just like junk.
Here's the thing about industrialization, it began to spread from nation to nation like Belgium, France, and Germany. Most of Europe began to make lots of money, but Britain remained as the front runner, and in regards to France, it really was a bummer that they just weren't able to industrialize thanks to Napoleon and France's war-seen eyes. Destruction, deficit, and death left the continent's industrialization short of breath. Britain was also technologically advanced, and the rest of Europe just wanted to grasp Britain's ideas, blueprints, and plans. But Britain went and issued a series of bans that forbade information to be passed around, but the other nations eventually went and found the skills and machinery that was required to progress the way that they desired. Belgium, France, and Germany's cotton industries began to expand and grow, centered around cities like Lancashire or Glasgow. Unlike Britain, who had a textile-centered goal, the nation focused on iron and coal. Now let's see how industry altered the lives of average men, children, and the wise. Less people started to bite the dust, and population was rising to be strong and robust. Fewer famines, epidemics, and the wars. Food was available even to the poor. But then there was Ireland in 1845, where the potato was what kept the people alive. Suddenly potatoes began to rot and dry, and about 1 million people of Ireland died. Ireland aside, cities began to grow as they became centers of trade and industry. About half of Britain lived in a city, but living conditions weren't exactly pretty. Streets were looking like sewers, and families were living in cellars. Even the common man was looking like a beggar. City food was disguised to make it look great in people's eyes. Prostitution and crime became rampant, until came along Mr. Edwin Chadwick, a reformer of cities and a supporter of change. The Public Health Act was what he tried to arrange. He was favored by the middle class due to hysteria of a nasty little disease called cholera.
Two social classes came into existence, including commerce, industry, and banking professions. Early CEOs raised capital and markets, set objectives, and supervisors to start them. Entrepreneurs were quite diverse, including Lloyds, Barclays, and even the Quakers. Social classes took a reconstruction. Aristocracy were replaced with men of gumption. Middle-class men wanted better work conditions. Temperature in the 80s were very common, as well as long weeks and awkward positions. Coal mines caused cave-ins, explosions, and fumes. Children and adults' lungs were ruined. Women and children were cheap and abundant. Their number rose to 67%. Factory acts caused decline in resentment. Orphans were beaten and forced to gather cotton. The Factory Act caused a decline in children. Women who worked got half the pay of men. Later acts limited hours of women and children, making men superior to women again. Standards of living increased in this time. Profits increased, but wages declined. Workers wanted acts, rights, and combined. British outlawed this in '99. The acts failed to stop formation of unions. One social reformer was named Robert Owen, who wanted to start a national trades union. Luddites burned factories and attacked the gears. Chartism was the best movement in years. It started reformation and organization. A series of acts created labor limitation, children education, and factory expectations. Later acts created more legislation. Coal Mines Act stopped children and women coal mine implementation. Thanks for watching this long presentation. I hope you learned about the Industrial Revolution.